Welcome to Whispered Tales. Today, we're exploring a story about controlling your emotions to speak English calmly and clearly. It was a bright Monday morning in Chicago, and Emily Carter, a 25-year-old marketing associate, felt like her life was unraveling. Her English was decent, but whenever she had to speak in meetings or present ideas, her emotions got the better of her. She stuttered, rushed her words, and sometimes even panicked mid-sentence. Her manager, Ms. Reynolds, had been patient for months, but after a major client meeting went poorly last week, Emily was called into her office. "Emily," Ms. Reynolds began gently, "you're creative, and your ideas are strong, but your delivery matters. Your emotions sometimes get in the way. You need to find a way to stay calm and speak clearly, even under pressure." Emily felt her cheeks burn. She wanted to explain herself, but instead, all she could do was nod. The truth was obvious. Whenever stress hit, her voice shook, her words tangled, and her confidence evaporated. That night, Emily sat alone in her apartment, staring at the notebook she had started for self-improvement months ago. She had written down goals before: learning English fluently, improving communication, being confident, but she never focused on emotional control. She sighed and whispered to herself, "If I don't control my emotions, all the English I know won't matter. I need to change." She opened her laptop and searched for techniques to stay calm while speaking. Videos on breathing exercises, slow speech, and mindfulness appeared. She realized this wasn't just about English, it was about discipline, patience, and self-awareness. Emily closed her eyes, imagining a scenario, presenting to a client confidently, her voice steady, her words clear, her hands calm. She imagined her sentences flowing naturally, her emotions balanced. "I want this version of me," she whispered. "I want to be calm, collected, and articulate."
And in that moment, Emily decided, tomorrow I start training my emotions and my English together, one step at a time. The next morning, Emily woke up at 6:30 a.m., feeling nervous but determined. She knew that controlling emotions didn't happen overnight. It required practice, patience, and self-discipline. She poured herself a cup of green tea and sat at her small desk, opening her notebook. Her first exercise was simple but powerful: breathing. She placed a hand on her chest and one on her stomach, inhaling slowly for 4 seconds, holding for 4, and exhaling for 6. She repeated the cycle 10 times, feeling her heartbeat slow and her mind clear. Once her mind felt calmer, she picked up a short English article she had saved. Instead of rushing through it, she read it slowly, deliberately pronouncing every word clearly. Whenever she noticed her voice getting rushed or shaky, she paused, breathed, and continued. After 30 minutes of practice, Emily felt surprisingly energized. She realized that calmness in her body translated to calmness in her voice. The words that once felt heavy and clumsy now flowed more naturally. At work, Emily applied her new technique during a brief team discussion. Normally, her anxiety would make her speak too fast, stumbling over words, but today she took a slow breath before speaking. "Based on our recent analysis, I suggest we target the new campaign audience through social media platforms like Instagram and LinkedIn," she said, her voice steady. Her co-workers listened intently, nodding in agreement. After the meeting, her colleague Jake smiled. "Wow, Emily, you sounded really clear today. Nice job." Emily felt a surge of confidence, but she knew this was just the beginning. Emotional control wasn't a single moment of success. It was a continuous practice, like training muscles every day. That evening, she wrote in her notebook, "Today I learned that calmness comes first, clarity follows. Emotions can either ruin words or empower them. I choose control." But life had a test waiting for her. Later that week, Emily would face a high-pressure client meeting, one that would challenge everything she had learned about staying calm and speaking clearly. It was Thursday morning, and Emily felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Today, Emily would participate in a client video call, the first time she would present her ideas in English to people outside her company. As she set up her laptop, she felt the familiar tension in her chest. Her palms were slightly sweaty, her heart beat faster than usual. Normally, this would have caused her to speak too fast or stumble over her words. But today, she remembered her practice. She took 3 slow, deep breaths, letting the calmness fill her body. When the client appeared on the screen, a woman named Clara Thompson from New York, Emily felt the slight tremor of anxiety. Clara was polite but confident and sharp. Any hesitation or confusion in Emily's voice could be noticed immediately. The call started with casual greetings. Then Clara asked Emily to present the strategy for the upcoming marketing campaign. Emily paused for a moment, focused on her breathing, then began. "Good morning, Clara. I'm Emily Carter. Today, I will walk you through our proposed campaign strategy. First, we plan to analyze the target audience data collected over the past 3 months. This will help us understand user behavior and preferences. Then, we will create content that aligns with these insights, using a combination of email marketing and social media outreach."
She spoke slowly, clearly, and with intention. She made sure each word was pronounced carefully, emphasizing the most important points. Every time she felt her mind start to rush, she paused, inhaled deeply, and continued. As she spoke, she noticed Clara nodding and taking notes. Emily felt a spark of confidence. She realized that calmness wasn't just helping her speak clearly, it was making her sound credible and professional. Halfway through the presentation, Clara asked a challenging question. "Emily, how do you plan to handle unexpected shifts in audience engagement metrics during the campaign?" In the past, Emily would have panicked, stuttered, or answered vaguely, but this time she smiled, took a measured breath, and responded. "We will implement a flexible strategy that includes weekly performance checks and real-time adjustments. Our team will monitor engagement metrics and adapt the content or approach as needed, ensuring that we remain aligned with audience behavior." Clara nodded approvingly. "That's a well-thought-out approach. I appreciate the clarity." By the end of the call, Emily felt a rush of pride. For the first time, she had controlled her emotions under pressure, spoken in English confidently, and maintained her composure. That night, she wrote in her notebook, "Emotions controlled, words clear. Calmness is my ally. Confidence is earned through practice, not perfection." But Emily knew the journey was far from over. Life would test her patience, her emotions, and her ability to speak calmly in English again, and this time the challenge would come unexpectedly from someone she never expected. The following week, Emily felt more confident than ever. Her daily practice, breathing exercises, slow reading, and controlled speaking was paying off. She no longer feared every conversation in English. She was calm, prepared, and focused. But life had a lesson waiting for her. During a team meeting, a senior colleague named Derek challenged her ideas openly. He was known for being critical, sometimes harsh, and Emily had always found him intimidating. "So, Emily," Derek said, leaning back in his chair with a skeptical look. "Are you suggesting we change the entire campaign approach based on just a few metrics? That seems risky." Emily felt the familiar stir of panic in her chest. Her thoughts raced, and her fingers twitched nervously. In the past, she would either mumbled an unclear response or rush to defend herself awkwardly. But she remembered her training. She paused, took a slow, deep breath, and reminded herself, control the emotions, control the words. "Thank you for your input, Derek," she said calmly. "I understand your concern. What I'm suggesting is a measured adjustment, not a complete overhaul. We will implement small changes and monitor their effect carefully before making further decisions. This approach minimizes risk while optimizing our campaign results." Her voice was steady, her words deliberate, and her tone professional. Derek blinked, slightly taken aback. He hadn't expected such a composed response from Emily. The rest of the meeting continued smoothly. Emily noticed that her colleagues now listened more attentively when she spoke. Her calmness had not only helped her communicate clearly, it had earned respect. After work, Emily walked home through the quiet streets, reflecting on what had just happened. Controlling emotions wasn't just about feeling better, it was about taking control in critical moments where panic or frustration could ruin everything. She opened her notebook and wrote, "Today I learned that calmness is powerful. It allows clarity, earns respect, and strengthens confidence. Speaking slowly and deliberately is more effective than speaking fast and anxious." Emily smiled to herself. She knew that her journey was far from over. There would be bigger challenges ahead, unexpected scenarios, emotional triggers, and high-pressure situations that would demand absolute composure. But for the first time, Emily felt truly capable. She realized that controlling emotions wasn't just a skill, it was a superpower for life and language. A few days later, Emily faced a real test that she hadn't prepared for. The marketing department received a last-minute request from the CEO, a presentation to international clients that would be broadcast live across different time zones. Emily was asked to speak first. Her heart raced the moment she got the email. This was not a practice scenario, this was real, and the clients were known for being strict and direct. She sat at her desk, laptop open, rehearsing quietly. Normally, her voice would shake, words would jumble, and panic would take over. But she had learned the importance of emotional control. She practiced her deep breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 6, repeat, repeat, repeat. The time arrived. Emily clicked the video call link. Dozens of faces appeared on her screen, people from London, New York, and Toronto. She could feel their eyes on her, and a flash of anxiety hit. For a moment, she considered freezing, but then she remembered. Control your emotions, and your words will follow. She straightened her posture, took a deep breath, and began. "Good morning, everyone. My name is Emily Carter. Today, I will walk you through our proposed campaign strategy and expected outcomes." Her voice was calm, measured, and deliberate. She spoke slowly, emphasizing key points. When questions came, she paused briefly to process them before responding clearly and confidently. One client asked a tricky question about budget allocation, expecting her to stumble. Instead, Emily calmly replied, "We have carefully analyzed the projected costs and ROI. Here is a breakdown that balances efficiency with quality, ensuring we meet the client's expectations without exceeding budget constraints." The client nodded in approval, impressed by her composure. Emily felt a wave of confidence. After the presentation, her manager sent her a private message. "Emily, that was outstanding. Your calmness and clarity made a huge impression.
Well done." That night, Emily reflected on the experience. She realized that controlling emotions didn't just help her speak English clearly, it gave her credibility, influence, and confidence in all areas of life. She wrote in her notebook, "Emotions can either control me or empower me. Today, I chose empowerment. Calmness is my greatest tool. Practice makes it permanent." Emily knew that challenges would continue, but she now had a foundation, a solid skill she could rely on in any stressful situation. A week after the high-pressure presentation, Emily faced an unexpected setback. The marketing team's campaign encountered a sudden problem. An unexpected technical issue caused delays in social media posting. Clients were anxious, emails flooded her inbox, and the pressure to respond quickly was immense.
Normally, Emily would have panicked. She would have rushed her replies, written unclear emails, and felt frustrated at herself and others. But she remembered her training in emotional control. She decided to take a pause. She stepped away from her desk, closed her eyes, and took 3 deep breaths. She reminded herself, emotions first, clarity second. Panic never helps. Then she approached the problem systematically. She wrote down the facts, the nature of the delay, the affected posts, and possible solutions. Instead of sending hurried messages, she crafted a clear, professional email. "Dear team, we've identified the issue and implemented corrective measures. The posts will resume shortly and will monitor the system to ensure smooth delivery. Thank you for your patience." After hitting send, she felt a sense of calm accomplishment. Not only had she avoided emotional mistakes, but she also solved the problem effectively. Later that day, her manager complimented her. "Emily, the way you handled that situation was impressive. Your calmness under pressure prevented unnecessary confusion and reassured the clients." Emily realized that emotional control wasn't only about speaking English. It was about decision-making, clarity, and influence. Calmness allowed her to act thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. That evening, she wrote in her notebook, "Setbacks are inevitable. Emotional control transforms challenges into opportunities. Calmness is not avoidance, it is strength." Emily smiled, knowing that each obstacle was teaching her a new level of patience and mastery over herself. She felt more prepared than ever for the challenges ahead, both in her career and in everyday life. The following week brought another test for Emily, this time in the form of team collaboration. One of her colleagues, Marcus, was impatient and often quick to criticize others in meetings. During a brainstorming session, he interrupted Emily mid-sentence and dismissed one of her ideas with a sharp remark. "Emily, that's unrealistic. We don't have time for this." In the past, she would have felt her heart race, her words tangle, and her face flush. She might have snapped back or avoided contributing for the rest of the meeting. But today was different. Emily took a silent, internal breath, remembering all the techniques she had practiced. She paused for a moment, letting the emotions settle. Then, with a calm voice, she replied, "Marcus, I understand your concern. Let me explain the idea more clearly. We can implement it in small steps to ensure it fits within our timeline." Her measured tone caught Marcus off guard. Instead of the usual confrontation, he listened. Emily continued, explaining her concept with clarity and confidence. By the end of her explanation, Marcus nodded. "Okay," he said reluctantly. "That makes sense. Let's try it." After the meeting, Emily realized something crucial. Controlling emotions isn't just for personal growth. It influences how others respond to you. Calmness commands attention and respect in ways anger or panic never could. Later, she practiced speaking aloud at home, reviewing the phrases she had used during the meeting. She noticed that her words felt smoother, her pronunciation clearer, and her confidence more natural. Each successful interaction reinforced her belief that calmness and clarity are inseparable. That night, she wrote in her notebook, "Frustration is a signal, not a barrier. Controlled emotions transform obstacles into opportunities. Calm speech convinces, inspires, and leads." Emily knew she still had moments of stress ahead, unexpected emails, tight deadlines, and high-pressure calls, but she felt ready. She had discovered the power of turning emotion into focus, a skill far more valuable than memorizing vocabulary or grammar. Her journey was ongoing, but she was beginning to see the bigger picture. Mastery over emotions leads to mastery over language, communication, and life itself. 2 weeks later, Emily faced her most intimidating challenge yet. She was invited to host a live webinar for international clients and industry professionals. Hundreds of people would be watching, and any sign of hesitation or nervousness could damage her credibility. The night before, Emily felt a familiar mix of excitement and anxiety. Her mind raced with questions. What if I stumble? What if my words don't come out right? What if they notice my accent? She took a deep breath and reminded herself of the lessons she had learned. Calmness first, clarity second. Emotion fuels words only if controlled. Emily prepared meticulously. She wrote down a script, highlighted key phrases, and practiced speaking slowly and deliberately. She even recorded herself, listening carefully to tone, pace, and pronunciation. When the day arrived, she joined the webinar 30 minutes early, reviewing her notes one last time. As the platform went live, her screen filled with faces from across the globe, clients, colleagues, and professionals. The pressure was immense.
Emily felt her pulse quicken, but she focused on her breathing, inhaling for 4 counts and exhaling for 6. She remembered the mantra she had written in her notebook. Control the emotions, control the words. Calmness is strength. She began. Good morning, everyone. My name is Emily Carter. Today, I'll be presenting our strategy for the upcoming marketing campaign and sharing insights from our latest research. Her voice was steady, confident, and clear. When technical questions came from participants, she listened carefully, paused to think, and responded calmly. Every answer was deliberate, every explanation precise. Even when a participant challenged one of her points, Emily did not flinch. She smiled, acknowledged the feedback, and explained her reasoning thoughtfully. By the end of the webinar, Emily received overwhelming positive feedback from participants praising her clarity, confidence, and professionalism. She realized that her emotional control had not only helped her speak clearly, it had established her as a credible, respected communicator. That evening, Emily wrote in her notebook, "Today I learned that fear is temporary, but calmness is permanent. Controlling emotions transforms pressure into performance. Clear speech is born from inner calm." Emily smiled, knowing that this was just one milestone in her journey. Each challenge she faced was an opportunity to strengthen her emotional resilience, refine her English, and grow as a professional. Her next steps would involve maintaining consistency, practicing under unexpected situations, and ensuring that her calm, clear voice became her default no matter what life threw at her. A few days after the successful webinar, Emily's confidence was at an all-time high. She felt capable, composed, and in control. But life has a way of testing even the most prepared minds. During a weekly team review, her manager, Ms. Reynolds, asked Emily to present the results of a smaller project. Emily prepared thoroughly, reviewing every metric,
and practicing her explanation. She felt ready. As she spoke, explaining the performance of the campaign, one of the senior executives, Leonard, interrupted abruptly. "Emily, this analysis seems too optimistic. Have you considered the risks? I'm concerned that you're overlooking potential failures." Her first instinct was to panic. Her heart raced, her palms sweated, and her mind screamed, "Say something, defend yourself." But Emily remembered everything she had practiced. She paused, taking a deep breath, letting her calmness take over. Then she spoke slowly, clearly, and confidently. "Thank you for your feedback, Leonard. I appreciate your concern. We have accounted for potential risks, including timing and audience engagement, and we've prepared mitigation strategies. Here's how we plan to address each scenario." She went on to explain, step by step, how the risks had been considered, emphasizing clarity and precision. The tone in her voice was calm, deliberate, and professional.
Leonard leaned back, nodding. "I see now. Your explanation is clear and well thought out. Good work, Emily." After the meeting, Emily felt a wave of relief and pride. She had faced direct criticism without losing her composure. She realized something profound. Controlling emotions isn't just about speaking calmly. It's about maintaining credibility, authority, and respect under pressure. That night, Emily reflected in her notebook. Criticism is inevitable. Calmness turns it into a tool for communication, not a trigger for panic. Every controlled response strengthens confidence. She understood that the journey wasn't about perfection, it was about consistent self-mastery, especially in unexpected or challenging situations. Emily smiled, knowing that the next chapter of her journey would push her further, teaching her that emotional control was not just a skill, it was a lifelong discipline. The next week, Emily faced another situation that would truly test her emotional control. The company was hosting a virtual panel discussion with multiple stakeholders, including international clients and internal executives. She had to moderate the discussion and speak fluently in English while keeping the conversation professional and organized. When the call started, Emily felt the familiar tension in her chest. Participants were joining one by one, some arriving late, others with technical issues. The chat messages popped up incessantly, and she could feel the pressure rising. Normally, she would have felt overwhelmed, rushed her words, or even skipped points. But today, Emily focused on what she had learned: pause, breathe, and maintain calm. She started with a calm, welcoming tone. "Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the panel discussion today. My name is Emily Carter, and I will be moderating the conversation. Let's ensure we share insights clearly and respectfully." As the discussion progressed, a participant spoke over her, trying to dominate the conversation. Emily could feel frustration rising, but she did not let it control her words or tone. She calmly intervened. "Thank you for your input. To ensure everyone's thoughts are heard, let's take turns sharing insights. I'll make sure we address all your points during the discussion." Her composed response set the tone for the entire session. Participants spoke clearly, listened carefully, and the conversation flowed smoothly. During a Q&A segment, a challenging question came from a client in London. Emily paused, took a deep breath, and answered carefully, making sure her English was precise, her voice calm, and her explanation thorough. The client nodded, impressed with her clarity. By the end of the session, Emily felt a sense of accomplishment like never before. She had successfully maintained composure under extreme pressure, guided a group of professionals, and communicated clearly in English. That evening, she wrote in her notebook, Calmness under pressure is more than a skill. It is a strategy. Every pause, every controlled breath strengthens clarity. Emotional control builds credibility, confidence, and influence.
Emily realized that mastering calmness wasn't just about English, it was about life itself. The ability to face challenges, unexpected obstacles, and high-pressure moments without panic. She understood that this discipline would continue to shape her personal and professional growth in ways she hadn't imagined. Emily woke up on Monday morning feeling confident, yet aware that true mastery of emotional control required consistency and resilience. She realized that controlling emotions in high-pressure situations wasn't enough. She needed to handle everyday frustrations just as calmly. Her first test came unexpectedly during a team brainstorming session. The room was chaotic, with multiple colleagues speaking at once, each pitching ideas for the upcoming campaign. Normally, Emily would have felt irritated and rushed to respond, her words tripping over one another. But this time, she paused and observed. She took a deep breath and reminded herself, emotions are signals, not commands. Calmness gives clarity. When it was her turn to speak, she calmly addressed the team. Let's focus on one idea at a time so we can evaluate it thoroughly. I believe this will help us make the best decision without confusion. Her composed tone caught the attention of everyone in the room. Gradually, the chatter subsided and the discussion became organized and productive. Emily noticed that calmness not only helped her speak clearly, but also influenced the group dynamic positively. Later that day, a small personal setback tested her again. She had prepared a report for her manager, but an error in data analysis caused her to redo hours of work. In the past, she would have panicked or blamed herself, letting frustration affect her performance. Instead, Emily paused, acknowledged her feelings, and took control. She methodically corrected the error, explaining it to her manager without defensiveness. Her calm approach was appreciated, and she completed the task efficiently. That evening, she reflected in her notebook. Resilience is the ability to maintain calm and clarity despite setbacks. Every controlled response strengthens confidence and improves communication. Emily understood that emotional control was not a one-time skill. It was a daily practice, a habit to cultivate in small moments as well as big challenges. By mastering these moments, she was becoming someone who could speak English calmly and clearly under any circumstances, while handling life's pressures gracefully. Weeks had passed since Emily began her journey to control her emotions and speak English clearly. Each challenge, from presentations, meetings, webinars, to unexpected critiques, had tested her patience, resilience, and self-discipline. Now she could reflect on the transformation. Emily had learned that emotional control wasn't about suppressing feelings, it was about acknowledging them, pausing, and responding thoughtfully. It allowed her to speak clearly, articulate ideas confidently, and navigate high-pressure situations without panic. One morning, Emily received a message from Miss Reynolds. "Emily, your progress has been remarkable. Your presentations and communication have improved significantly. Your calmness and clarity inspire the team." Emily smiled. She realized this journey was not only about improving English, but also about becoming a more confident, resilient, and influential version of herself. She sat at her desk, notebook open, and wrote her final reflection. Controlling emotions transforms words, actions, and life itself. Calmness breeds clarity, confidence, and credibility.
every small step toward emotional mastery builds a stronger, better me. Emily knew that life would continue to bring challenges, but she now had the tools to face them: breathing exercises, patience, and the power of calm speech. She felt ready for any future conversation, presentation, or unexpected situation. Thank you for watching Wisped Tales. We hope you enjoyed Emily's journey of mastering emotions and speaking English calmly and clearly. Remember, controlling your emotions is not just about language, it's about life.